I'm sitting in the grand old family parlor, the air thick with the scent of polished wood and fresh-cut flowers from Grandma's garden. The will is being read, and my cousins, sharp-suited, smug grins plastered on their faces, are handed deeds to sprawling estates, each worth millions. Me? I get a dusty, rusted sewing machine that looks like it hasn't hummed a tune in decades. Laughter echoes off the walls as they pat my back like I'm some pitiful charity case. Better luck next time, old sport, one sneers. But oh, if they only knew, that worthless hunk of metal was about to unravel their world and stitch mine back together in ways they'd never see coming. Stick around, because this tale of sweet, satisfying justice is one you won't forget. Hello everyone. My name is Elias Hawthorne. I'm 68 years young now, living in a quiet little town just outside Boston, Massachusetts, where the autumn leaves turn fiery red and the winters bite just enough to remind you you're alive. By day, I tend to my garden. Nothing fancy, just tomatoes and herbs that keep my hands busy and my mind at peace. But back in my younger days, I was a simple accountant, crunching numbers for folks who thought they had it all figured out. Today, though, I want to share with you a very personal story from my life. This isn't some made-up yarn. It's my real-life tale, pulled straight from the heartaches and triumphs I've carried for decades. Maybe it'll touch your heart too. Or light a fire in your belly if you've ever been kicked when you're down. You see, life's got a funny way of balancing the scales, doesn't it? If you've ever felt that burning sting of being overlooked, underestimated, or outright humiliated by those who should have your back, family no less, then this story's for you. It's about betrayal that cuts deep, the kind that leaves you questioning everything. And the sweet rush of validation when justice finally swings your way. If you've ever dreamed of serving up a heaping plate of comeuppance to someone who wronged you, hit that like button right now. Subscribe so you don't miss more real-life epics like this. And get ready, because we're diving into one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's begin. Folks, let me take you back to the beginning, way back when I was in my early 40s. Still trying to make sense of a world that seemed hell-bent on keeping me small. I was born into what you'd call a well-to-do family. But don't let that fool you. We weren't the Rockefellers or anything. My grandmother, Elias Hawthorne, was the real pillar of it all. She was a force of nature, that woman. Sharp as a tack, with eyes that could pierce right through your soul, and a laugh that warmed you like sunshine on a chilly morning. Grandma had built our family fortune from scratch after Grandpa passed young, turning a small tailoring shop into a network of real estate investments that kept us all comfortable. But she was private about her business, always saying, "Elias, real power whispers, it doesn't shout." Now me? I was the quiet one in the family. No flashy cars or big egos here. I lived in a modest apartment in the city, worked a steady job balancing books for local businesses, and spent my evenings reading or tinkering with old gadgets. My cousins, though, oh, they were a different breed. There were 3 of them. Marcus, the eldest, with his slicked-back hair and perpetual smirk, always flashing his Rolex like it was a badge of honor. Then Leela, his sister, sharp-tongued and designer-clad, who treated family gatherings like fashion runways. And young Theo, the baby of the bunch, spoiled rotten, with a laugh that grated like nails on a chalkboard. They were Grandma's favorites, or so it seemed, always getting the best gifts, the prime invitations to her estate for holidays. Me? I was the reliable one, the cousin who showed up to help fix her roof or drive her to appointments without asking for a dime. But let's not sugarcoat it. There was always this undercurrent of disdain from them. I'd feel it in the way Marcus would clap me on the shoulder a bit too hard, saying things like, "Elias, old boy, still plugging away at that desk job? Must be nice, not having ambitions weighing you down." Or Lila, rolling her eyes when I'd share a story about my latest book find. "Oh, Elias, always with the fairy tales. Some of us live in the real world, you know?" And Theo, he'd just snicker, mimicking my quiet voice behind my back. It stung, deep down, like a thorn you can't quite pull out. I'd clench my fists under the table, my heart pounding with that mix of anger and helplessness. Why me? I'd think, what did I ever do to deserve being the punchline? Grandma saw it all, I reckon. She'd pull me aside sometimes, her frail hand on my arm, whispering, "Patience, Elias. The world rewards those who see beyond the shine." But back then, her words felt like empty comfort. The real gut punch came when she passed. It was a quiet autumn day, much like today, the leaves crunching underfoot as we gathered at her sprawling Victorian home for the reading of the will. The air was heavy with the smell of her favorite lavender sachets, mixed with the polished oak of the study where the lawyer sat, papers rustling like dry leaves in the wind. We all sat there, tense as bowstrings. Marcus lounged in an armchair, legs crossed, already eyeing the antique clock on the mantel like it was his. Leela fidgeted with her pearl necklace, her manicured nails tapping impatiently. Theo scrolled on his phone, barely looking up. Me, I perched on the edge of a stiff chair, my stomach twisting in knots. Grandma had always been fair, but a part of me dreaded this moment, feared I'd be left with scraps while they feasted. The lawyer cleared his throat, his voice dry and formal. "To my grandson Marcus, I bequeath the waterfront estate in Cape Cod, valued at approximately $12 million. Marcus's eyes lit up like Christmas lights, a smug grin spreading across his face as he pumped his fist subtly. "To my granddaughter Lila, the penthouse in Manhattan, also valued at $12 million. She let out a theatrical gasp, fanning herself as if overcome, but I saw the calculation in her eyes. "And to my grandson Theo, the vineyard property in Napa Valley, worth the same." Theo whooped, high-fiving Marcus like they'd just won the lottery. Then it was my turn. The room went quiet, all eyes on me, pitying almost. "To my grandson Elias," the lawyer read, "I leave my antique sewing machine, the one from my old shop." A beat of silence. Then the laughter erupted. Marcus barked first, slapping his knee. "A sewing machine? Grandma's got jokes even from beyond." Leela tittered, covering her mouth. "Oh, Elias, how quaint. You can stitch up some curtains for your tiny apartment." Theo doubled over, wheezing. "Charity souvenir, cuz. Better than nothing, right?" My face burned, hot as coals. I could feel the blood rushing to my cheeks, my hands trembling as I forced a smile. Inside, though, a storm raged. How dare they? I'd been the one at Grandma's bedside those last months, holding her hand as she whispered stories of her youth. They'd shown up for holidays, sure, but only for the gifts and the glamour. Powerlessness washed over me like a cold wave. That familiar ache of being the underdog, the one always stepped on. I wanted to scream, to flip the table and tell them where they could shove their pity. But I didn't. I nodded, mumbled a thank you, and took the damn machine, a rusted relic with squeaky pedals and faded paint, home with me. That night, in my cramped apartment, the city noise buzzing outside like angry bees, I set the machine on my kitchen table. The bulb overhead cast harsh shadows, making it look even more pathetic. I stared at it, my mind replaying the laughter, the sneers. Tears pricked my eyes, not from sadness, but from that boiling frustration. "Why, Grandma?" I whispered to the empty room, my voice cracking. What did I do wrong? My shoulders slumped, heavy with the weight of years of slights. I'd always been the one to swallow my pride, to let it go. But this felt like the final straw, snapping something deep inside. Days blurred into one another after that. I'd go to work, crunch numbers in a fluorescent-lit office that smelled of stale coffee and regret, my mind wandering back to the machine gathering dust at home. My co-workers noticed. "You okay, Elias? Look like you lost your best friend." I'd wave them off, but inside, the disrespect festered like an open wound. Emails from my cousins didn't help. Marcus, sending photos of his new estate, captioned, "Living the dream. Sorry about your, whatever that was." Leela, posting on social media about her penthouse views, tagging me with a winking emoji. Theo texting memes of old sewing machines. Each one twisted the knife deeper, my jaw clenching so hard I thought my teeth might crack. One rainy afternoon, thunder rumbling like distant drums, I decided to clean the thing. Why? Maybe boredom, maybe a spark of curiosity. Grandma always hid little notes in odd places. I wiped down the metal, the rust flaking off under my rag, the squeak of the wheel echoing in the quiet room. That's when I noticed it. A loose panel underneath, barely visible, like it was meant to be overlooked. My heart skipped a beat, that flutter of anticipation mixed with nerves. With shaking hands, I pried it open, the wood creaking in protest. Inside, tucked away like a secret treasure, was a sealed envelope. Grandma's elegant handwriting stared back, "For the one who values love over money." My breath caught, a chill racing down my spine. What was this? I tore it open carefully, my fingers trembling, the paper crisp against my skin. Documents spilled out. Legal papers, stock certificates, all stamped and official. As I read, my eyes widened, the room spinning around me. Grandma hadn't just left properties to my cousins. No, she'd built something bigger in her final years. A holding company, quietly amassed, that owned majority shares in every single one of those estates. And now, it was mine. All of it. The waterfront home, the penthouse, the vineyard. They were assets under this unlisted entity, and I held the reins. Overnight, I wasn't the poor cousin anymore. I was the owner, the boss, the one with the power. But let's not jump ahead. That discovery lit a fire in me, but revenge? It had to be planned, savored. I spent weeks poring over the documents in secret, my apartment lit by the glow of my laptop screen late into the night. Coffee cups piled up, my eyes burning from strain, but determination coursed through me like electricity. Internal voices warred. "They deserve this," one said. "But are you stooping to their level?" another whispered. No, I decided, clenching my fist until my knuckles whitened. This wasn't petty. This was justice. Grandma had seen their greed, their disregard for family bonds. She'd trusted me because I valued her, not her wealth. I hired a discreet lawyer, a sharp-eyed woman named Clara, who'd handled Grandma's affairs. We met in a dimly lit cafe, rain pattering against the windows, steam rising from our mugs. "Elias," she said, her voice low and steady, "this is airtight. You control the board, the votes, everything." My pulse raced as we plotted. Short sentences for the plan. Notify the cousins. Call a meeting. Reveal the truth. Watch them squirm. The escalation came naturally. My cousins, flush with their inheritances, started flaunting harder. Marcus threw a housewarming party at the Cape Cod estate, inviting the whole family, except me, of course. But word got back, champagne flowing, laughter ringing, toasts to Grandma's generosity. Leela hosted brunches in her penthouse, posting photos of skyline views with captions like "blessed beyond measure." Theo turned the vineyard into a party pad, blasting music that echoed through the valleys. Each story that reached me fueled the fire, my stomach churning with that mix of rage and resolve. "They think they've won," I'd mutter to myself, pacing the floorboards that creaked under my feet. But oh, how the tables turn. The turning point hit like a thunderclap. One evening, as I sat alone with a glass of whiskey, the amber liquid swirling in the dim light, a call came from Marcus. His voice, usually so cocky, had an edge. "Elias, buddy, you hear about these weird letters from some company? Claiming oversight on the properties? Probably a scam, right?" I smiled into the phone, my heart pounding with dark satisfaction. "Not sure, Marcus. Maybe you should look into it." Click. That was my breaking point. No more hiding. Time to execute. We arranged a family meeting at Grandma's old estate, now technically mine, though they didn't know it yet. The drive there was tense. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white, rain sluicing down the windshield like tears. Thoughts raced. What if they fight back? What if this blows up? But deeper, a steely calm. This is right. This is earned. They arrived first, Marcus in his luxury sedan, Lila stepping out in heels that clicked sharply on the gravel, Theo trailing with a hungover slouch. I pulled up last, the sewing machine in my trunk like a talisman. Inside, the parlor smelled just as I remembered, lavender and wood polish, a fire crackling in the hearth. They sat, fidgety, exchanging glances. "What's this about, Elias?" Leela snapped, her voice like ice cracking. "Some corporate nonsense?" I stood tall, my voice steady despite the butterflies in my gut. "Sit down, cousins. There's something you need to know." I laid out the documents on the table, the papers rustling softly. As I explained, the company, the shares, Grandma's masterstroke, their faces shifted. Marcus's smirk faded, his brow furrowing. "What the hell is this?" he growled, snatching a page. Leela's eyes widened, her hand flying to her mouth. "This can't be real." Theo just stared, mouth agape, color draining from his face. And then, the climax, the moment I'd waited for. "It's real," I said, my words hanging in the air like smoke. "That useless sewing machine? It held the key. Grandma built this company quietly, poured her heart into it, and left it to me. Because she knew I'd value it, not exploit it. Those properties? They're assets. I own the majority shares. I own everything." The room erupted. Marcus shot to his feet, chair scraping harshly against the floor, his face reddening like a boiling kettle. "You sneaky bastard, this is theft. We'll sue." His fists clenched, veins bulging in his neck, spittle flying as he ranted. Leela burst into tears, ugly, mascara-streaked sobs, clutching her pearls as if they could save her. "How could you, after all we've—" Her voice cracked, betrayal twisting her features into something pitiful. Theo slumped back, muttering curses under his breath. His cocky grin shattered into a mask of shock and fury. "Dude, this is messed up. You were supposed to be the nice one. Me?" Relief flooded through me like a warm tide, washing away years of resentment. My chest loosened, breaths coming easier, a triumphant smile tugging at my lips despite myself. Validation surged. Grandma had seen me, chosen me, Their humiliation was the cherry on top. The mighty fallen, egos deflated in an instant. I didn't gloat, not outwardly. Grandma always said, real wealth isn't what you're given, it's what you discover. I paused, letting it sink in. That sewing machine didn't just stitch fabric, it stitched justice. In the chaos that followed, lawyers called, arguments flying like sparks, I stood firm. They tried to fight, of course, but the papers were ironclad. One by one, they conceded, faces etched with defeat. Marcus stormed out first, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. Lila followed, dabbing her eyes, muttering about ungrateful relatives. Theo lingered, shooting me a glare that could curdle milk, before slinking away. Looking back now, from the comfort of my garden chair, the sun dipping low and painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, I can't help but reflect on it all. Justice, folks, it's a tricky thing. Karma doesn't always come swiftly, but when it does, oh, it's satisfying. Grandma taught me that true value lies in the quiet strengths, loyalty, patience, love over greed. I didn't destroy them. I just balanced the scales. They kept minority stakes, enough to live well if they learned humility. Me, I managed the company wisely, turning it into something that honored her legacy, helping local businesses, funding scholarships for underdogs like I once was. If there's a lesson here, it's this. Don't underestimate the quiet ones. And remember, what looks like scraps might just be the thread that ties it all together. Makes you think, doesn't it? About those times you've been wronged, and how sweet it would be to see fairness prevail. Whew, that was a ride, wasn't it? If this story gave you chills or had you fist-pumping at the payback, smash that like button and tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed, or maybe even pulled off yourself? Drop your stories below. I read every one. And of course, if you want more real-life tales of triumph, underdogs rising, and justice served cold, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for joining me today. Stay strong out there, and remember, sometimes the best revenge is living well. Until next time, take care.